I mean, just thinking of all the years of piled up history, built on and built on and built on and built on, is just really fascinating. Well, this area too has a lot of Toronto has a lot of history too in various areas of it. Not good, like everywhere, not always good. Speaking of not good history, the present moment, and the fact that we're repeating history, which shouldn't be a surprise to anyone who saw Trump get elected president. And don't tell me that he has nothing to do with it. For people to feel that it's all right to come out and be Nazis right out in the open. You have after everything we've been through, including wars, which probably wasn't just against that. We always know there's always more agendas, power struggles, and reasoning and profit, blah blah. But we went against that, and what the fuck? And somebody's dead. And I'm not just mad about that death. I've been mad for a while now. I mean, if anybody's been paying attention, and don't get on me if you're tired of hearing about Black Lives Matter, because Black lives do matter, and you should be paying attention when kids are getting shot for playing in playgrounds. I mean, it's bullshit. Or anyone of any age getting shot for trying to pull out their license in a car, or doing anything that me as a privileged white person, I'm privileged, and I don't nothing privileged because of my skin. I know I'm not necessarily going to get shot just for for existing, and that is just outrageous. And we did our protests, we did our marches, and we did this is bullshit. I mean, and this is what happens. So this is also echoed in the workplace, in the way things are going in the work environments. And I'm not just speaking just from my own personal experience. I mean, overall, we're going backwards in everything that people had fought for. Like, it's not like you guys who are having vacations are only having to work a 40-hour work week, or getting to have breaks, or getting to go on pregnancy leave, or anything of that sort. That didn't come because an employer was like, I want to give my employees this. It came because people fought for it. And when we get complacent and say, oh no, it's okay, well, we understand, you big bankers are having troubles, well, you big corporations are having your troubles, well, they pay their CEOs big huge monies, we'll take some, we'll make things work. We'll take the hits for you guys and reductions, and let you hire new people and not give them benefits like in unionized workplaces I've heard of. I mean, this is bullcrap. We're just, every time we do that, we let it slip away what was fought for before, and coming forward, we move backward. So this is a time period where in so many areas we are I think we're quite close to having to, well, we are, the fight has already begun for a while. And it's not just, I don't mean fight as in violence, I mean like standing up, having to be heard, having to, and it's not, it shouldn't just be the people affected, like Black Lives Matter, it shouldn't be just black people that have to stand up for it. It shouldn't be like that. The girl that was killed was white, she stood up because, just like all of us should be. We should all be standing up for this, because it could happen to any of us. I mean, I'm classified as, because of my anxiety issue, and my workplace injury, and different things I could be classified against. There's different, there's all these different reasons. There's quite a build-up, and we're much more aware. History isn't just being written by the ones with money anymore. We have social media, we have voice, we have our vlogs, and as stupid as they may seem, and our Instagrams and our Twitters, and we have this chance to like speak up and be heard and get out there and be a voice. And then we have the opportunity every day when we're in our communities to say hello to people who may not match our skin tone, who may not have our level of privilege, who may not, you know, we need to reach out to each other, because this is how nations fall. This is how, not just nations, forget nationality, this is how the world falls apart. This is how, you know, it just happens. And it's scary. And I'm not sounding this mad because a white girl was killed. I've already been mad for a long time. I've ranted so often to my husband. He's had to hear it every single time, the news, you know, and it's just disgusting how many deaths have happened, and how we're just like that meme where the dog is sitting in at the dinner table with fire all around him going, this is fine. That's how we've been, the rest of us, going about our days just trying to exist, because we're put in a state of perpetual anxiety in general. We're worrying about our jobs, we're trying to get work, we're trying to keep money on the table, we're trying to do our own lives, we're trying to keep our relationships intact, we're trying to figure out what we're going to do with our futures. We're all distracted, we're all busy, we're all worried about ourselves, and it's where things are falling apart. Hello. Well, have a good evening. See, I mean, I sound a little weird at the end, but say hello to people. Say it, just say it. Say hello to people. You know, people need to say hello to each other. We need to be together. We're all here together. And the only difference between us living here or there, or being someplace or something different than what we are, is just chance and circumstance and other mysteries. It's bullshit that anybody would think that they're better than anybody else, that would treat anybody as though they're less than anything. This has all got to stop. We should be progressed beyond all this bullshit. And while we keep each other down and keep fighting at each other and blaming each other when we aren't the ones pulling the strings, it's bullshit. And we're gonna, you know, this shouldn't just be where one minority or group of people is attacked and the rest of us are like, oh, good that they're going out and fighting for what they want, good for them, or oh, I'm cheering them on, or oh, I don't care, that's their problem. All of that, wrong. Somehow in our daily lives, even if it's a difference of being able to explain to your kids that they're no different than some other kid in their class, or that if there are differences, it doesn't make anybody any less. I know I'm getting all riled up and just really pissed off that we're at the point where, on one hand, some people are like, well, good thing that it has been made public that Trump was made, because now we see, like, that's what a lot of people have said. We see you now. We see you. We see that Trump is president, and we see how, you know, not a vast, actually, Hillary had the most, but we see you guys, we see how so many people think, people from certain demographics or whatever. We see what you think. We see how you feel about the rest of us that are living. I mean, for instance, in the States, like the cuts that were proposed to their hospitals, like their medical system, would have affected me, because I am somebody who is, well, let's use the word disabled. That's technically what my pension is, and that's technically because of the secondary impairment and the primary impairment. I mean, I would have been, and I've got how many pre-existing conditions? This can affect you, even if your skin, well, I'm tanned right now, but, you know, don't think it won't affect you, because it will. And people you love. And how is it for children to be seeing this shit? To be seeing us over here doing this? Don't, you know what happened? I'm heading into a neighborhood called Parkdale. And there was a thing called Parkdale Organized. You can look it up if you're curious. People renting that were gonna get their rent hiked, who were living in conditions of no repairs to their buildings, unsafe conditions, just so many different things, and a ridiculous rent hike just because, well, you know, rent's going up everywhere, and gentrification and whatnot, and these are, and the large populace is low income and immigrants, so easy targets as well. Although it happened to the people in Liberty Village as well, where their rent was doubled, and it was bullcrap just because they're living in condos and et cetera, and their rent got doubled, and people were like, hell no, can't do that. Doubled or tripled, actually. Anyway, the point is that these people came together, a few of them, because some people are afraid to speak out, because you're afraid. If I withhold my, you can't withhold your rent, not even for repairs. So they came together anyway, and they joined together collectively. People did, and the ones that could bear it, came out together, stood against it, protested, fought, took it the legal way, and took it and won. Now, to the degree enough for it to be a victory, it would not have happened if they hadn't stood up against and made their and state, you have to, it's those, and that sets some precedent, and we need that. We have to look out for each other. We have to do this. We can't just it's really sad that the people who work in the city, and serve in the service industry and any industry here, that if you work here, that you can't afford to live here, that you've got to somehow either live in conditions that are unsafe, or if you're seniors or disabled, you don't deserve to have adequate, safe living conditions. That's bullcrap. And also, it's sad if you have to be either settled for that, or if you have to be pushed out to where you have to commute for hours to work in the city that you should be able to live in, just like everyone else. So these are things like, sorry guys. So this is, my camera is on my shoulder. So this is my DSLR. So this is stuff like all of these issues: housing, food, human rights, basic human rights, and fighting against hatred, fighting for the rights that we thought we had, that some of us stupidly thought was just, of course we should treat people equally. Of course, everything's fine. Things are fine. No. Things haven't been fine for a while, and we just haven't been hearing it because people writing the history books just said their own way, and the people who didn't get to write the history books didn't get their story heard for so long, because you silence and intimidate the voices of those whose stories should be heard. Now we're learning, we're waking up, we're communicating with each other. We have these ways of communicating with one another and telling each other what's really going on. That is important, and very, very powerful. And I just hope we don't. It's of course it's natural to like, self-preservation is really important, right? We have to be able to survive. But somehow within our, if they have us so frantic about just surviving, we forget how to live, and we forget how to think about other people. We forget how to consider other people. And it's when we forget to consider other people that, or to think about them, or to even try to empathize or see other people as human beings trying to live their lives as well, that we get to these points. I mean, when that whole thing went down, you know, that whole World War II thing, and like people just, there was a buildup. There were people being taken out of society for various, for being this, for being that, for not fitting what was declared to be acceptable. And you have this pushback right now, but it's not because, oh, we got to even things out because women and minorities and everybody have too many rights now, and it's keeping the white man down. That's not at all what's happened. We've let the people in power and corporation, etc., the highest, just totally manipulate and ruin us. And we're going at each other, and some people are stupid enough to want to blame. It's so sad and frustrating. So yeah, if you have a voice, use it. If you can get out there, use it. If you can't because you're in a vulnerable position, in a vulnerable place, then it's the little acts. It's the little moments. It's saying hi to somebody on the street. It's not letting the narrative be told to you as far as be afraid. It's their fault. They're taking your jobs, etc., etc., etc. Do not believe the hype of that. Don't let it happen. We also are powerful in our daily lives, in just what we can do with around each other is powerful too. And we have to remember that we outnumber. Even if they make more money or they're in more powerful positions and can destroy us all, we can still make differences. We just have to have each other's backs. We can't let this happen. And I mean, like, so much respect to Parkdale Organized for looking out for tenants in my neighborhood. Not specifically where I live. So far seems to be a good landlord, but not far from where I live is where it happened. And much respect to the people who are protesting against Nazism. Can you believe it? White supremacy. We're protesting. Props to them for standing up for other people, for other human beings, and for each other. This shit has to change and it has to stop. We can't let this happen. It's 2017, people. 2017. This is the future. This is now. Okay, I'm done ranting. Amber Dawn out. Sorry, I just couldn't stop.